January 22nd, 1984. In the age before Microsoft or Google, IBM was the one crowned king of computing, and left Apple struggling to sell what they called the Lisa. In an attempt to turn it all around and dethrone the king, Apple released a one-of-a-kind computer that some say revolutionized what a personal computer should do. It was around this time in 1984 where the personal computer was becoming more mainstream and directed to the general public. It was the perfect time for Apple to try and grasp the attention of the public and have them buy their product. Let's have a look at how they advertised it for the first time.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests, obeying contradictory thoughts. Our unification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Alright, let's rewind this advertisement and take a look at it a bit more closely this time. While looking at it once more, keep in mind that Apple was really struggling to compete with tech giant IBM. At the time, IBM was selling a whole lot more computers than Apple, and things were not looking good for the company. Apple needed to figure out a way to reach out to the general public and tell them what made the Macintosh so special, and have them understand why the Macintosh was going to change everything. And what better time to do so than Super Bowl 18? Let's begin.
Today we celebrate.
Right from the start, we are greeted with a cautionary tone. A screeching sound effect is played that grasps the attention of all listening. The sound is similar to that of some sort of warning noise.
First glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker...
Here, men dressed in gray uniforms and marching in sync let the audience know that these are people that are not to be messed with. Armed guards then reaffirm this idea. During this moment, we are also introduced to the protagonist of the entire ad, an unknown woman running with a sledgehammer. Taking a closer look at the woman, we notice two things. One, she is an athlete, so she's probably very strong. The other is something that isn't found anywhere else in the ad. She is in color. The military men, future audience, and even the televisions are monochrome. Since this woman is the only person displayed in color in the entire ad, we know that Apple is portraying her as different, which is actually the entire basis behind their future Macintosh slogan, Think Different. Another important note here is what is on her shirt. I'll be honest, I've watched this ad over 30 times just for fun and another 20 for this project, and I never noticed until the very last minute this very important detail. If you look close enough on the woman's shirt, you can see an actual silhouette of the Macintosh itself and the Apple logo next to it. This is what ties the protagonist to Apple.
Secure from the pests, obeying...
While we're still on the subject of color choice, let's jump on over to where the television is displayed. Take a closer look. Not at it, but around it. The television is emitting a bluish glow. This was 100% done intentionally, as CRT televisions from the year 1984 naturally emitted a yellowish glow. So why did Apple choose to have the television emit a bluish glow? Let's have another look at a few of the ads played at the beginning of this video. This time, take a closer look at the IBM logo. Blue was, and as a matter of fact, still is the company color. IBM was also given the nickname Big Blue at the time because of how large the company was growing. The man on the television is there to represent the company IBM. It is also at this moment that Apple is alluding to a scene in the book 1984 by George Orwell. This moment is exactly like what the 2 Minutes of Hate looks like in 1984. In the book, we have a giant television with someone saying how great Oceania is and how it always will be. Big Brother is also eventually on the television, who is the tyrannical leader of Oceania. We have something very similar happening here in the Apple ad 1984. Here, we have what we've already determined to be IBM on the big screen. And now, IBM is also saying how great things are for the company, and how they plan to take control of everything that is computers. IBM is being portrayed as a tyrannical, power-hungry leader of the computer industry, whom have apparently been so for a while now, as in the beginning of this advertisement, there is a mention of an anniversary of some sort. This alone makes the viewer think of IBM as another bad guy in the story. This is a great example of name-calling, as Apple is depicting IBM to be exactly like Big Brother. Once again, we briefly see the protagonist of the ad running towards something that we do not know yet, but with the armed guards running after her. Since she is the main character, we are hoping that she succeeds in whatever she is going to do, and we immediately feel hostile towards anything and anyone who tries to stop her. Here, the tone of the ad begins to change from cautionary to hostile, as we do not want the guards interfering with the protagonist. The viewer's emotions of nervousness are beginning to build up now, as they do not know what is going to be happening to the woman. We are briefly showed the people who seem to be mesmerized by what IBM is telling them. Their absolute attention towards the big screen alludes to how much control IBM has over them. These people are the buyers of the personal computer. And once again, we see that blue shade, but this time on their outfits. Apple is alluding that these are followers of IBM since they are wearing the company color.
Is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on Earth.
Now let's have a listen to what IBM is telling us at this point in the ad.
We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death.
Here, IBM is giving its followers a picture that there is only one big computer company, and that they cannot ever be taken over. Their enemies will talk themselves to death, meaning that all other computer companies are all talk and have no real ideas or actual products.
We bury them with their own confusion.
At this point, we finally reach the climax of the entire ad, and we can see what the woman's intentions were with the sledgehammer. To understand why she did this, let's finish watching the ad.
We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Apple here claims that the Macintosh is what is going to change the computer industry, leading to the demise of a monopolistic and tyrannical computer company. The sledgehammer represents the Macintosh itself, and the destruction of the screen by it tells the viewer that it is indeed the Macintosh that is going to destroy IBM as a company. The fact that it was a strong athlete who destroyed the screen tells the viewer that the Macintosh is going to be one powerful computer. So, was this advertisement effective in any way? Absolutely. Over 70,000 Macintoshes were sold in 1984 alone. The ad itself also won many awards, including Greatest Commercial by Advertising Age in 1995, and #1 ad of all time, according to TV Guide in 1999. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.